every single game in this Indiana Knicks series has just been incredible. Everyone brings it. They bring it every single time. I think that these two teams are now separated by I don't know, 2 points in this series, maybe 3 points in this series. It's completely ridiculous how tight these two teams are, even though Indiana now has a 2-1 lead. After where I want to start is this was really, to me, kind of a career defining quarter for Karl Anthony Towns. Even going into it, I kind of felt like, okay, Brunson has 5 fouls. They're going to need Cat to step up here at the start of the fourth quarter and do something and be aggressive and be physical and be strong and be willing to be the real dude here on this team. And he comes out and drops 15 points in the first 4 minutes of the fourth quarter. He has 20 points in the fourth quarter in total. He ends up going, because of that, for 24 and 15 after he was truly dreadful for the first 3 quarters of this game. He had 4 points on 8 shot attempts. He had turned the ball over a ton. The defense was not looking great. But then the fourth quarter comes around and he genuinely took over this game in a way that, again, in my opinion, it genuinely is an important career defining moment for him. If Cat ends up making the Hall of Fame, we'll see if that happens, right? I would imagine that the way his career looks right now, he's probably going to end up right on the borderline in terms of what that looks like after another All NBA season this year. This is one of those quarters that will play on like a Hall of Fame reel for him, or like is highlighted very early in his Hall of Fame, speech or whatever. This was a massive, massive moment for Karl Anthony Towns.
And this is what you need from your second option whenever your first option is, and I know Cat was in foul trouble as well, but when your first option in Jalen Brunson is in foul trouble, and quite honestly, Brunson was struggling just in general, not making shots. Now he made big shots down the stretch, which he's going to end up doing. And he had a few turnovers himself. And what I was impressed with Cat, just really this entire playoff run, whenever he really has it going offensively. And, it's not like it's only been in the playoffs, but it's the versatility of his scoring. I think in that fourth quarter, he had a catch and shoot 3. He had a dribble 3. He had post isolations, and he had a backdoor cut that was just perfectly timed with the poster dunk. Obviously got to the free throw line a little bit as well. And that's what stands out to me is when he really has it going, it's not just the threes. It's not just the post ups. I think that's his, and there was an attack of a closeout as well. Like the versatility of him and his offensive game at his size, when he's hitting on all of it. I don't want to see 5 straight post-ups. I want to see a couple post-ups, and then I want to see a trail 3. Then I want to see him attack a closeout, then get a backdoor cut, then go back to the post. It was really impressive, and the Knicks absolutely needed it.
I think where I want to start beyond Cat, though, is that nothing that Tibbs did in terms of the lineups helped or worked. I would say maybe removing Campaign from the lineup and putting in DeLon Wright. I think that was actually a good adjustment. DeLon Wright ends up playing 13 minutes in this game and he's a +2, whereas Campaign had just been hemorrhaging points against this Pacers team on the defensive end, particularly. I think that one works, but I hate the 2 big lineup in this series. We talked about the fact that we didn't like that as an adjustment after game 2, even before he had decided to do it. I mean, they'd given up 158 points per 100 possessions in the 9 minutes that Cat and Robinson played together in game 2. I would imagine the numbers aren't going to look super sweet after tonight either. But what I think did show up in Tibbs's favor, maybe he lit a fire under their ass. Maybe it was just the players taking accountability. Whatever it was, they ramped up the defensive intensity in such a significant way I would say at the end of the third quarter, and really at the start of the fourth, you could really feel it going all the way through the fourth. But that's when it shifted. It had more to do with them upping their defensive intensity and deciding to play more aggressively on the ball, as opposed to, anything that the lineup changes did.
Yeah. I don't want to hear, I shouldn't say that. I'm not I don't think anything with the rotations or the lineup had a huge factor in this. If anything, I was still questioning lineups and rotations in terms of they start the second quarter without Brunson or Bridges on the court, which I've liked the Mikal Bridges lineup offensively when Brunson was out. They ended that third quarter. Like, this is the ultimate, like, small sample size lineup data. They ended the third quarter with Shamet, Wright, McBride, Hart, Robinson. Tell me that lineup should win minutes in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Indiana Pacers, but because Deuce hit big shots, it ended up being okay. And I think they ended up, leaving the third quarter on a run. But it's like, I just didn't think. I hate the two big lineup, because what I said to you and we've talked about was, now you have two bigs trying to get back in transition every single time the Pacers push pace. And now there's two guys that may or may not get cross matched or whatever. And
I'll particularly point out,
yes,
Mitchell Robinson in the first half, I counted 8 points that he gave up, like, through his own issues, either be it a communication breakdown with Mikal on the first one, him getting cross-matched on Halliburton, and Halliburton drills the three, like things like that. He gave up 8 points in the first half just on communication issues or transition issues alone. It was really, really rough.
And I think he's playing too many minutes, Sam. I brought this up after game 2, where it's like you put him through all of these minutes. And listen, I like Mitchell Robinson. I think he's impactful. I think he's important for this series. I think especially with where the Pacers' big situation is right now, which is something we probably need to talk about when we get to their side of things, Robinson can dominate his minutes, but it needs to be like 18 to 22. It needs to be strategic with those minutes. And I don't know that they need to be with Cat in this series. And like, I just feel like Josh Hart is always the scapegoat whenever something's not going right for the Knicks. He still played 34 minutes tonight. So he didn't start, but he played 34 minutes. They want, like, what? Whatever. They can start the same rotation. They can start Deuce, whatever. Like, ultimately, it still comes down to the same guys making the same plays in big moments. And like you said, the defensive energy and effort. And I will tell you this, Josh Hart made a lot of big plays in this game. Cat's first three and over fourth quarter, Josh Hart offensive rebound created that opportunity for him that got him going. He pulled down the big defensive rebound up 2 late in the game and then hit the 2 free throws. And then real quick, the other sequence of this game, Sam, the end of the first half, Pacers are up 20 and timeout. They get an Anunoby layup. They get Anunoby 3 off a, guess who? Josh Hart offensive rebound. They get a Josh Hart bucket, and then they get a Bridges 3-pointer. There's obviously some defensive possessions in there as well, but they get it to 13 going into half. That was a huge stretch late in the first half for the Knicks.
Both at the end of the second quarter and at the end of the third quarter. Yep. Both of those runs were, like, honestly the reason that they were able to stay in the game. I think you look at the way that Hart kind of catalyzed the second quarter run, the way that Deuce catalyzed the third quarter run. It was the energy guys in a real way that were able to keep them in this game. And then the energy of being able to get the defense really rolling in the fourth quarter, like they did. Like, OG Anunoby was showing emotion tonight. Think about that. Like, OG Anunoby never shows emotion. He gets attacked by Aaron Nesmith in a like isolation, and just completely walls him up, stops him, swats his shit out of bounds. He like yells at Nesmith. Like, it was amazing. We never see emotion like that. So I loved it. I loved every moment of this for the Knicks. And on the other side with the Pacers, I guess where I'm trying to still figure out, how sustainable all of this was for the Knicks. Can they sustain the defensive energy now for 4 more games? That is such a critical piece of this. Are they able to continue to up that defensive intensity, the Knicks, to be able to keep up with the Pacers? Because honestly, in the first half, I felt like the Pacers got an incredible number of good looks and just missed. Like, they started 2 of 10 from 3 in this game. They end up going 5 for 25 from 3 in this game. I don't think it was due to a lack of quality of good opportunities. I think it was just that they kind of missed some open shots early on and maybe didn't take enough advantage. They could have been up 30 instead of 20. early on to me, but they kept them around. And because of that, the Knicks were able to really kind of roll into this third quarter, fourth quarter. And once they got it within single digits because of the cat run, then it really just kind of snowballed and avalanche down the hill. And that's where the energy came. And we're looking at a 2-1 lead now.
Yeah, it's funny. I wrote, if the shot diet of the first 4 minutes is an indicator of who will win this game, Pacers will win this game, even though they were losing after the first 4 minutes of the game. I thought their shot diet, what they were creating, was better. And I thought that stayed true to your point throughout most of the first half. But between New York ramping up the defense, I thought Indiana got out of their pace a little bit and got a little bit too much into Siakam isolation mismatch hunting, like a little bit too much. After game 2, I came on and talked about, I love the versatility of what Indiana could do. They could push pace, they could ISO, they could run ball screens. And I felt like they got just a little bit too much into that. And then I will be honest, we give Tyrese Halliburton all of the love and all of the due love and credit when he deserves it. I didn't love his mentality in the second half tonight in terms of looking to score the ball himself. I thought he turned down some opportunities to go be aggressive, to score the basketball on a few different possessions. I would have liked to him, even if it was forcing the issue, I would have liked to see that from him just a little bit. And I didn't think we saw that. So credit to the Knicks, because their defensive energy did change, and it was a huge ramp up, and it caught the Pacers off guard. And I don't think the Pacers adjusted well to it. Now we'll see if they're able to in game 4.
Well, and here's the other big piece of this. And, there are no shots here at Jalen Brunson, right? Jalen Brunson still had 23 points, made all 10 of his free throws, dealt with foul trouble all night, right? Not having Brunson on the court was a huge piece of this.
Sure.
In terms of the defensive energy.
Defensive end.
Because they have really struggled to guard when both Brunson and Towns are on the court.
Yep. In
this series. You can look at any play-by-play data you want to. When Brunson and Towns have been on the court, it's been a huge struggle for them. At any moment in the playoffs, they've given up 120 points per 100 possessions with Towns and Brunson on the court together in these playoffs. With Brunson on the court without Towns, it's 110. With Towns on the court without Brunson, it's 96. Even in the 36 minutes where they've both been off the court, it's 114, right? So I really think that a big piece of this is that Brunson and Towns not playing together on the court necessarily, to me, is a huge factor here. And it's something that, based off of foul trouble tonight, was sustainable. They had to pick and choose different bodies, pick and choose different ways to be able to kind of scrap together offense. But the flip side of that is that it allowed them to play more aggressive, switchable, difficult defense that made the Pacers' life a lot more difficult in a lot of moments.
Yeah, and I mean, that's something you can strategically do. We talked about Tibbs not being so rigid with his rotations and his lineups. And I mean, almost tonight, he went the complete opposite way where he was just throwing out all sorts of stuff. And in fairness to him, he changed the starting lineup. And then all of a sudden this foul trouble hit. Like Deuce had 3 fouls in the first half, along with Brunson and Cat getting into their foul trouble. And when that hits, it does throw off some of your rotations and you have to make those decisions within the game. Obviously, you have to play a lot of minutes with Brunson and Cat on the court, but they're going to set at times as well to get some rest. Strategically make those so that they're never at the same time, right? Make it so one is out, the other's on, and you can do those type of things. And so
you can get just about half the game.
Yeah.
Even, given their playoff minute totals, not just tonight, but throughout the entirety of the playoffs, Towns plays about 35 minutes a night. Brunson plays about 39 minutes a night. That's about half of the game where if you really wanted to stagger them and switch, you could make it so that only one of them is on the court for 22 to 24 minutes a night.
Yeah. So that's where, again, I would like to see that. I'm interested to see where, you can't change the starting lineup now. Like you just won this game with that starting lineup. But I'm interested to see if we get again, we talked about this. Like if this is the lineup they think is the right, then fine, whatever. Like I also want to commend Josh Hart for you started almost 90 games this year for a team that's really good in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then you get sent to the bench, and him coming in and having the impact he did. But if you want to keep it, that's fine. But again, it's the same idea of what I said after game 2. Then be more fluid with the rotation. Get Mitchell Robinson out 4 minutes into the game. Like play him in shorter stints, because the 9 minutes, the 10 minutes straight wear him out, in my opinion. So I would like to see that still in game 2, regardless of what the starting lineup is. I also want to quickly mention from the Pacers side, I thought they mishandled the final 30 something seconds of regulation. They had a dead ball after forcing a shot clock violation and didn't get a shot in the first 12, 13. Like they had a 2-for-1 opportunity where if they pushed pace, I was shocked that they didn't have something to get a good look early in offense, right? Like
quick hitter. Yeah.
Yes. I'm not saying force a shot. I'm not saying shoot a 35 footer. I'm saying, where was the quick hitter that's, hey, this is 1 or 2 passes and we're downhill, or 1 or 2 passes, flare screen for the 3, whatever. They didn't really do that. They got under 24. And I was a little surprised, because usually those are the margins that Carlisle wins on that we've really highlighted so far.
Were you surprised we didn't see more Obi Toppin in this game?
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about it. Mostly with the bench, I had thought about like, man, Benedict Mathurin cannot play. Trying to hash through the Shepherd minutes, the big guy. Maybe this is where that conversation happens. They can't play Toppin in the Mitchell Robinson minutes. Can you play Toppin at the 5 against Cat? Can they do that to help out this issue they have at the 5? Is that something that they could try out?
That's kind of what I'm wondering.
Yeah. Cause listen, with all due respect, this was another thing I wrote, Sam. We're into the 3rd quarter in the Eastern Conference Finals. We have Tony Bradley and Landry Shamet on the court. And I'm just like, what is going
right?
What is going on here? This is insane stuff to me. I love it. This is why this series is so much fun. Yeah, you absolutely cannot do it in the Mitchell Robinson minutes. He will destroy them on the offensive boards. Maybe in some Cat minutes they can do that with Toppin to try out. But in general, I wouldn't mind. He only had 14 minutes tonight. I feel like his energy is usually pretty good, Sam.
Yeah, it was weird. He had that like offensive foul near the end of the 3rd quarter, and Carlisle just like yanked him. Yeah, and that was it. And he didn't play again. And meanwhile, like I thought he was a really big part of them having that crazy run in the second quarter. Yeah. Just like his energy, his ability to run up and down the court. I think his defense has been reasonable in this series. Like I think that he has brought energy at the right times and like blitzed at the right times in order to create like havoc plays. And the thing with the Pacers is that they are very much a team that is similar to Oklahoma City, where they can just have these crazy runs where it feels like it's an avalanche going down the hill, and you're trying to run up the hill, bring the ball up the court. And I think Obi is a big reason for those runs for the most part. I think they probably yanked him just a touch early in this game, and they stayed with Mathurin like an unconscionably long amount of time, even though he only played 8 minutes in this game. Like
it's funny. He played 8 minutes, and we're both going to say he played too much. It's crazy.
I think he did. Yeah. Like I'm just giving all of his minutes to Shepherd at this point is where I'm at. Like,
or McConnell
can at least play,
and McConnell like at least puts the ball in the basket. Like that's the thing with Mathurin is like you have to the defense, the turnovers, the illegal screens, the silliness that and listen, this is the biggest Benedict Mathurin fan you guys are going to find. Like I was a huge Ben Math fan in that class, but like just the silliness doesn't overcome. He has 11 points in 3 games, hasn't made a 3. It just, the positive, there's not enough positive impact that outweighs the negative that comes with him being on the floor right now.
He's just not a good enough decision maker. He doesn't process the game quick enough, and his defensive like court mapping is a total adventure every time he's on the court.
Well, he blew one like completely in transition where like he had matched with his guy, but then like initially it wasn't his fault. Everybody else didn't get matched the right way, but you have to recognize that he was staying on the baseline. He was in the spot where you can see and map everything, and he just hugged up to the corner. And I think it was OG. I think got like just a wide open catch and finish at the rim. It's like you have to at least see it. I also want to say, like, OG hit some big threes throughout the course of the game that like were a part of this as well. Like, there's all sorts of little things that go into even being in position for the fourth quarter to happen and Cat's explosion to happen. And OG was a huge part of that as well. I don't want that to be lost, along with how good he was defensively. Made some really nice plays.
Well, it's funny because like I think OG and Hart in this series coming into tonight had not been particularly good on defense in this series.
Sure.
By their standards. I think the communication has been off. I think that, just their general, OG has been in so many wrong positions. So defensively,
Sam, he was a huge part of the game one comeback because his man was setting a screen and he's 6 feet off. It's like, OG, you guys are up 14. No threes. You can't give up a three, my guy, in this situation. So I agree with you.
100%. And I thought that in the fourth quarter tonight, particularly, OG was maybe like the biggest reason defensively why they were so good. And, again, Josh Hart, I thought he was not particularly good in the first half of this game. He came back with a vengeance and was amazing in the second half. I thought he was outstanding with his energy. I mean, all of the defensive rebounds to close the game. I mean, he was massive, massive, massive for them. And the other piece of this that we do need to discuss is that Aaron Nesmith gets hurt, and this is probably a quarter's worth of basketball.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly. Like that. That's what it felt like. Because even when he came back from the tunnel, I kept waiting for him to check in. I don't think he got back in till like 6 minutes to go in the fourth. So a quarter sounds right. Roughly midway third quarter to midway fourth quarter, maybe a little less. But yeah.
So Nesmith has played 37, 39, and 33 minutes in each of his last 3 games, right? And he played 26 tonight because he went out. Let's say he missed, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes of play tonight. Seems fair. And that was a big deal because it really takes an option off the court defensively for them. The other thing that really annoyed me in this game from the Pacers, in the start of the third quarter, you have a chance to put your foot on the gas and really cause problems for the Knicks. That Jalen Brunson has 4 fouls.
Yes.
Why are you not running every single action at Jalen Brunson to start the third quarter? I don't think they really ran any of them. They were trying to attack Cat and try to get him his 4th foul, is what it felt like to me. And they did eventually. They got it. But I just don't know why you aren't running everything at Brunson, because he's going to either foul and be off the court for the next 12 minutes, basically, because there's no way they're going to risk him picking up a 6th foul before the fourth quarter, or you get free buckets because Brunson is not going to be as physical. He's going to play off. He's going to make it a little bit easier. I have no idea why they didn't run, guard to guard, Halliburton, Nesmith actions like relentlessly in that start of the third quarter. That would have been, to me, the move.
Yeah, so I actually wanted to talk about this as well because they actually have done a nice job. So it's kind of funny how watching the Knicks so closely throughout these playoffs, you see how teams attack them better and more intricately. So in the first round series, the Pistons would bring Brunson into the action, but Brunson knew that Beasley or Hardaway Jr. or whatever were just going to ghost or pick and pop off of the ball screen, right? Yep. Well, then you get to the Celtics series, he's guarding Drew Holiday. Well, Drew Holiday throws a wrinkle at him. He will now screen and roll, which makes it a longer closeout and a better ability to break down the defense, or he'll slip before he ever gets there. Well, now what the Pacers are doing is they're bringing Nesmith into the screen, and then they're running like flare actions off of it and stuff like that, making Brunson hedge and then get through a screen. And they've done that in these first, but they didn't do it, to your point, there in the start of the second half. They didn't do it down the stretch in the fourth quarter. And it's just like, that's what I was talking about, where like the variety of their offense, I think they got stuck trying to just attack one or two things as opposed to just really staying in the flow of, okay, we'll attack this way, then we'll attack that way. Okay, we haven't attacked Brunson in a while. He's in foul trouble. Let's go run that ball screen into flare screen action. The variety went away, and I think that hurt their flow. Again, along with credit to New York for picking up their energy and intensity, because that is definitely part of it.
Yep. No, it's really, really interesting now to see where these two teams go. Every game has been so close in this series. I mean, to me, like, I don't even know if there are adjustments on the Pacers side. I almost would like to see them again go Deuce in the starting lineup instead of Mitch. Like, that would be something that would clear up a lot of issues, I think, for the Knicks.
I agree with that. Like, I'm a big Josh Hart guy. Like, whatever. Deuce makes so much more sense to me than Mitch in the starting lineup. So, I mean, if I would love to see that. I assume we don't, right? Like, I think that would be, I mean, it would be really interesting if Tibbs after a win went to that, but, yeah, I'm with you. Deuce.
Yeah. I'm really interested to see what the numbers look like, after this game. Cause I don't think we have the lineup data yet over on NBA.com in terms of, two-man data, where we can see who looked like what together against the Pacers in this game. I can look at it real quick to see if we've got it, but I feel like it solves problems for the Knicks if they decide to go. So we actually do have it. Holy shit. This is cool. Okay. So Robinson Towns tonight defensively was actually really good. It was 96, defensive rating.
Interesting.
But again, like, that was the start of the game where the Pacers like got a billion open threes and just missed shots. Right.
Yeah, the other thing I will point out is they finished with their original starting lineup. Like, Tibbs still went to, now it was McBride instead of Brunson because of the foul trouble, but it was McBride with the other four normal starters. And then once he was ready for Brunson to come in, then he put in Brunson. And so, like, that was interesting to me that he still defaulted to the original starting lineup down the stretch in the fourth quarter. I assume we'll continue to see that. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah. That defensive numbers were okay.
Yeah. Like you said, like, that's series data. We know this, even series, let alone individual game data. There's so much shooting variance. I mean, Indiana went 5 of 25 from 3 tonight, so totally. That definitely comes into play. I will also, they have an issue at the big man position. Like, they got to figure something out with, I love Miles Turner cannot guard Karl Anthony Towns. Like, he just straight up can't do it. And again, to your point, that's why Deuce makes more sense in the starting lineup, because when Mitch is in the starting lineup, now Turner can go guard Mitchell Robinson, and you can put Siakam on Karl Anthony Towns. You have who you putting Turner on if you're trying to get him off of Cat if Deuce is in the starting lineup. So, yeah, they gotta, I don't know what the answer is, but they got to figure something out there at the big man spot. Yeah.
I don't know if they have the answer, for what it's worth. Like, maybe it's going small with like Siakam at the 5 in the minutes where Towns is out there as opposed to Mitch. Maybe it's, you play Obi Toppin. I honestly think like it could just be Siakam Toppin if Towns is out there without Mitch.
Yeah.
If Mitch is out there, it becomes a lot harder from a rebounding perspective to do that. But I feel okay with Siakam Toppin out there against Towns OG.
Yeah.
Like that feels okay to me.
Yeah, it's worth trying. And again, this is the defensive end. Like, I still think, Turner wasn't good from 3 tonight. 1 of 6 from 3. He was good inside the 3-point line. But yeah, it just, he struggles.
By the way, though, like, a piece of this for the Knicks too is if you are playing Mitch and Cat together, if you're looking at it from like a chess perspective, right? You make it easier for the Pacers to steal minutes with like Siakam Toppin off the bench. You just if you send Mitchell Robinson to the bench, right? The minute that you do that, you just take Turner out.
Yeah.
And you just say, okay, like, we're just going to minutes match and go small in the minutes where Mitch is out of the game.
Yep.
Like, you actually make it way easier on them if you're playing both of the bigs together to start the game, I think.
Yep. No, I agree. I'm okay if it's McBride. I do not agree with the decision if it's Mitch.
Yeah. I will be interested to see how Tibbs looks at this now. Yeah. Moving forward, I'm guessing that they just keep the same starting.
I would assume so as well. Yeah, I would assume so as well. So I would I would struggle to change the starting lineup after a win. So,
yeah, just real quick. Aaron Nesmith left the game in the second quarter due to a right ankle sprain before returning to the action. Walked gingerly to the locker room after the game. There was an ice bucket in front of his locker, per James Boyd. Per James Edwards. Shout out the icon James Edwards. Just
my God.
One of the all-time great human beings.
Yep.
Josh Hart said he had a hand in the decision for Mitch to start. It's something I've been willing to do. Said conversation started around the end of the Boston series. Said he doesn't care how much he plays. I just want to win, is what Josh Hart said. So shout out to James for getting that one and kind of giving us some answers there.